I thought I'd maybe pump you for a little information because I made a side bet with one of our producers in SportsCenter. And I have no good information to go on this other than I have a feeling that Erik Karlsson would be moved by trade deadline. I know that you guys have all been saying it's not likely to happen. Do you have any new information that could help me in this bet?
Well, it won't be from a lack of trying. And actually, Erik was a really good sport about it this week. He took a number of questions from Rashog and I about the trade deadline and was really, some players just want to try and brush off that stuff. He was actually took a pretty deep dive in it as far as, the reality of the situation, which is that he understands why Sharks GM Mike Grier is taking calls on him and why the Sharks are, attempting to rebuild their franchise. He understands why he might get moved. He also knows he's got a full no move. So Erik Karlsson will have the final say on his future. And my point on this is one of the reasons why I think it's more likely he gets moved in June than for March 3rd has to do with how complicated it is to move that contract in season right now in a flat cap environment where you got 16 teams in LTIR. I mean, Erik Karlsson's got 4.5 years left at $11.5 million AAV. And of course the Sharks are willing to eat money, but what no one seems to know for sure is how much. And that's a pretty big unanswered question, because it's not just trying to fit him in for the rest of the year, but for 4.5 years. And so that's number one. Now, if we would have had this conversation in September, there is no chance we're having a conversation about whether or not Erik Karlsson's get moved. Like we wouldn't have thought at that moment, based on the last couple of years, that a team would even pick up the phone given the enormity of that contract. But now, guy might win another Norris Trophy. It's the Erik Karlsson of old. He's on fire. Teams are phoning. Mike Grier confirmed this to local media in San Jose last week. He is taking calls. But I just struggle, and maybe I'm just not thinking outside the box enough. I'm struggle to identify how much money the Sharks could eat to make that deal, digestible for a contender that has no cap room, and number two, for the Sharks to get something out of it. And I think I'm struggling to see the path in season.
You make a lot of sense, Pierre. It doesn't really help me with my bet.
Yeah, you're in trouble.